So it was, yeah, they did it on air. Yes, I was shocked. I was shocked by it. Yes, I'm going to keep saying shocked. But they aired a correction later. Jonah Goldberg from the Dispatch was the one who made that defamatory claim. Anyway. Yeah, he said I abused my dog on camera. Yeah, genocide denier, Jonah Goldberg. Okay. Where was I? Okay. He wrote a book about how FDR is a fascist. Yeah, I mean, he's a fascist. Where was I? What was I going to cover? So here's a couple things that took place. So Bernard was asked by the Podjons if he's going to make an endorsement on Francesca Hong. Bernard said, in classic Bernie fashion, he's like, oh, I'm not making an endorsement on any of the governor races, right? That's what he said. He said, let me be clear. I'm not making an endorsement on any of the gubernatorial runs or whatever, right? And basically Fox News took that and ran with it and is running with it to be like, oh, Bernie hates Francesca Hong. It's bullshit. Okay? It's complete and utter bullshit. He just said he's not familiar with her and that he has not gotten involved in many governor's races. The problem is Bernie is not a democratic socialist. Or rather, he is a democratic socialist, but he's not a part of DSA. Bernie has never been a part of DSA. It's really interesting that a lot of people don't realize this. There's just, I guess part of it is because like he has been so pivotal and so instrumental in the rise of DSA, but he's never been a dues-paying member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and neither has Abdul al-Sayed. Abdul al-Sayed doesn't even say he is a democratic socialist, obviously. He never has said that. But at least Bernie is a democratic socialist. Bernie once called DSA revisionist, by the way. Yes, because DSA used to be broadly revisionist back in the day. Or not like... Jesus wasn't a Christian? Okay, true. Yeah, Chris Hayes asked Bernie about Michael Harrington in the old 20th century party questions. Yes, Bernie is a lot older than the Democratic Socialists of America. So, are you concerned about our comms director? Hong's answers on media hits have been bad. Also, no TV ad spending. All will be solved. That's all I'm going to say. Francesca Hong is fantastic. She's wonderful. She's an unbelievably kind person. She's a diligent organizer. All will be solved. Trust the plan. Okay? Trust the plan. That's all I'm saying. None of these are, like irredeemable or horrible. None of these are like campaign enders, regardless in the way that it is presented on Twitter. I don't think most people give a shit in the streets of Wisconsin about like how Francesca has responded to the Thanksgiving question or whatever the fuck. I do personally think that she should probably stop doing national media. Or if she's going to do national media, I hope that she is a little bit more a little bit less explainy, if that makes sense, and a little bit more almost antagonistic. But that's not like, that's a super solvable issue. It's not like a irredeemable quality. Like, she has all of the fixins, okay? She has all of the best qualities that you can have. She needs to be a little bit more assertive. That's all. A little bit more assertive, a little bit more snappy, a little stick it to them, okay? That's it. I think she's too kind for this contentious media environment. Maybe a little too Madison. And if there's one takeaway, it's so fun being a woman, lol. No, there's definitely that element too, 100%. She's a woman of color. That absolutely plays a role in how she is perceived. Okay? But the elements that I admire about Francesca Hong, that I think play very well, especially when she's doing retail politics, like, guys, I'm telling you, the way she talks to Republicans at state fairs, just cut an ad on that alone and run with it, okay? Republicans that are like, I'm a triple Trump voter, like da-da-da, all those guys love her. There is a reason why there are lawn signs with MAGA and Trump and Francesca Hong all up and down this goddamn state with like some of the rural districts. She is great on one-to-one conversations. She is very affable. She is very personable. She is great. She, on the other hand, I don't believe you. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen some of those videos. New York Times has reported on it. New York Times did an entire article on Francesca Hong being the hog whisperer, and you guys are so funny and you don't even recognize it. She treats people like people, okay? Which is great. Bro, you literally know her. Why not tell her these points? Okay, guys, first of all, you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes, okay? So shut the fuck up. And secondly, that's it. That's all I'm going to say, actually. That's it. That's the only point that you need to know. Just shh. Calm down. Okay? Just shh. Be quiet. Anyway, the other thing I will say is what makes her such a great organizer, unfortunately, doesn't make for good television, especially national television. Okay? Because the national TV environment is important if you want to nationalize your race, if you want to get support from outside of the state, but you're running for governor. And if you're running for governor, you have to be, I'm going to steal a term from a friend of mine here. I'm not going to reveal who it is. A Wisconsin nationalist. Okay? If you want to run for governor, you got to be a Wisconsin nationalist. In the same exact way that Zoran was a New York City nationalist. Okay? In the same exact way that Abdul El-Sayed is a Michigander through and through. Okay? There is not a piece of the Abdul El-Sayed campaign that isn't colored by the beautiful state of Michigan. And the same goes for Wisconsin. The same goes for Francesca Hong. Okay? She needs to be hitting the Wisconsin supremacy button over and over and over again. And there are so many aspects of this beautiful state that she could lean into, and she has leaned into. Like when we talk, when she talks about Wisconsin, you could tell she loves the state. Okay? And you can tell that there is a lot in the state of Wisconsin that you can draw from, specifically from Wisconsin's radical history. Okay? So yeah, that's like that's my feelings on the matter. The Thanksgiving stuff is very stupid. It's very silly. It will not make a tremendous impact in this election cycle. Okay. David Axelrod writes this silly fucking take. It would be good for Abdul al-Sayed if Francesca Hong loses her bid to become the Democratic nominee in Wisconsin next week. He's a serious person. She's a font of zany liberal faculty lounge exotica. But ours, hoping to deflect attention from unpopular POTUS, who hangs from them like an anchor, would surely try to link Abdul and Hong as philosophical kin. David Axelrod, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything. Just stop talking. Okay? Just let us cook. Let us do our thing, and then you can respond to it when those changes are happening and those changes actually deliver success. The idea that Abdul al-Sayed represents something serious, but Francesca Hong doesn't, is bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. They are broadly a part of the same movement. They are broadly a part of the same coalition, a coalition that centers the needs of the working class and puts those needs primarily at the heart of their campaign, as opposed to the profit-centered motives of corporations. Okay? It's fucking bullshit. It's a little bit misogynistic as well, but it's ultimately bullshit. I'm not even going to do the whole Islamophobia, misogyny run, even though that is definitely a thing, but that's electoral poison. We shouldn't be getting into it. I'm saying a little, it's a lot. When I say something is a little misogynistic, know that it's a lot misogynistic. When I say something is a little Islamophobic or it's giving Islamophobia, understand that it's probably maximalist Islamophobia, maximum Islamophobia. I'm just fucking trying to be as as reasonable as possible, okay? You just understand what I'm actually saying when I say things like that. Anyway, listen. We can't be too woke, okay? Unfortunately, especially during election season. So, Jay Caspian Kang says, Francesca Hong dropped out of college and ran a failing restaurant law. She's running on data centers, not woke. The establishment's derangement on her is pretty telling. Also, riddle me this. If she sucks so much, why is she running away with this primary? If you ask her supporters in Wisconsin, I imagine many will tell you that when they asked 5 candidates about data centers, one said she would impose a moratorium. They would also say she's the furthest on the left on Israel. I do not think one word would say fuck Thanksgiving. Editor Mentum is being a dipshit about this race on Twitter as well. I know. Well, he also was unbelievably critical about Daria Liza and didn't understand what was, what people were looking for there as well. He didn't pay too much attention to it. I disagree with him on this, okay? Like, there are elements of the Francesca Hong campaign that I too am thinking critically on, okay? But I'm not going to highlight and overemphasize that as it's a make it or break it situation for her. Okay. It's very stupid. She is a phenomenal candidate. She has an incredible policy platform. Okay. We care too much about the consultant pundit brain attitude. We care too much about what consultants think. Who gives a fuck? The only thing that matters is what do Wisconsinites think? That's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is the People's Republic of Wisconsin, okay? That's the only attitude and the only thing that should be at the heart of this fucking movement. It's ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. They love her. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, okay? HasanAbi's Midwestern arc is a sight to behold. Culver's changes a man. Oh, dude, 100%. 100%. I think a lot of people fall mercy to the liberal optics argument. And even if they present themselves as radical or have radical opinions, they unironically turn around and refuse to back the party line. They refuse to back some of the members of the party. I don't like that. Okay? We got to be a little bit more diligent, and we have to be a little bit more loyal. We must be loyalists to the party. Okay? And by that, I don't mean the Democratic Party. You got a wonderful Democratic Socialist that is most likely going to break records, shock the world, and be the first Asian American governor of the state of Wisconsin, a swing state, although I oppose that framing. You are going to have the first Democratic Socialist governor, and you're over here fucking talking shit. You do not have enough loyalty to this movement. You do not understand the changes that are coming. Sometimes it's important to believe. Okay? Sometimes it's important to believe. Sometimes it's important to back. Those fucking nasty centrist consultants don't agree with every single thing that their centrist candidates are doing, and yet they still push it nonetheless. We must do the same. It's always the same two moves from green room creatures like Axelrod. 1, talk very tough about what people find normal. 2, totally disregard what has put faculty lounge exotica, she's a college dropout, by the way, in the driver's seat for the nom in the first place. Yeah. Francesca Hong has 50 canvas operations mobilizing for the governor campaigns. Joel Brennan has 1. Mandela Barnes had 0. Kelderoy's had 0. David Crowley had 0. It's fucking ridiculous. Shut the fuck up. You're out of your damn mind. You're sounding like Ted Lasso. No, sometimes revolutionary optimism is required, and sometimes you have to also have comradely disagreements with what a campaign is doing. Obviously, I'm a number one advocate for TV ads, for the record. If you were to ask me to break down what some of the areas of improvement are, I would say that Francesca Hong needs like a media debate coach. I would say that there's room for improvement in the comms side, especially when she's doing these national media hits. Okay. And improvement, not necessarily nothing on the policy side, of course. I wouldn't touch anything like that. I would just simply put a little bit more edge in the way that she's communicating. But none of these are like irredeemable qualities, especially when she's been doing fantastic so far. Okay? She's going all up and down the state. And for the record, yes, she is doing ads on television, just on streaming TV. Delay, but I found where they issued a correction. Not really a correction. What is this?
All right. One note that we do want to add. Yesterday on the show, one of our panelists made an unexpected comment about Hasan Piker, claiming that he abuses his dog. Hasan Piker denies this claim. All right, we'll be right back.
Nice. That's not a retraction. Bare minimum. Those fucking snakes. Can you check Angie Nixon running for U.S. Senate in Florida? Eventually, yes. No comment from Kaya. They hate you so much more than Fox News? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think some do. But in any case, getting back to Francesca Hong. Getting back to Francesca Hong. Jake Tapper does know. Yes, Jake Tapper definitely hates me more than anybody else. What's really funny is Donnie O'Sullivan is a person who's done a documentary on me on CNN and has been around Kaya and myself and could literally attest to it. Like they could just be like, hey, Donnie, you've been around Hasan Piker quite a bit. You've been around Hasan Piker and Kaya quite a bit. Do you think that Hasan Piker abuses his dog? Obviously, they could just ask that question to Donnie O'Sullivan. Anyway, you need a hollow iced cold lawyer to stick these fucking people when they slander your name. Dude, I can't. I don't have time. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. Okay? I don't have I don't have the time or the bandwidth to just like go through a convoluted legal battle, especially when there's no guarantee, because defamation is very difficult to prosecute. Okay? CNN is already covering their bases when they say that. The reason why they're issuing a correction, not a retraction in that moment, is to cover their legal bases, to be like, look, this is a claim that was made. We cannot confirm nor deny it, but then they just like I'd have to go to Jonah instead of CNN directly. Like, how do you think it would look if I'm like, if there's a headline, Hasan Piker sues CNN? Anyway, Jamel Bowie discussed the factional battles in the Democratic Party. We're going to cover that as well. Now that we, what do you call it? Now that we got into the third way bullshit. But yes, since last night, there were a lot of, do you disavow Hasan Piker? Do you disavow Israel? Or do you love Israel? How much do you love Israel? All this bullshit, as Abdul Al-Sayed, is going on national news and becoming more of a national story since he won his primary. Adam Johnson says, this interview was nothing but will you denounce Hasan Piker, grilling over loyalty for Israel, 5 questions, and clips of people calling him Hamas. 0 questions about healthcare, affordability, data centers, etc. Like with Mamdani, it's just endless Zionist struggle sessions. Again, at some point, these candidates have to break the fourth wall. El-Sayed's answers were good, but after the third smarmy gotcha about small beans Israel, he has to draw attention to how absurd it is he's being grilled over Iron Dome and not crumbling schools and medical debt. I think it's free money. I think it's free money, and Adam is right. At some point, saying like, look, the first 3 questions are fine, but like, what are we doing here? Don't you feel like this is doing a disservice to the voters who care about things other than Israel? Why is it that these questions, Bernie does this all the time. He's actually pretty good at it. We'll be like, oh, you ask me about Grand Platna, but never about Medicare for all. So I think that's a good way to be a little bit more antagonistic, not so much, but a little bit more antagonistic towards mainstream media, which is not exactly favored by the masses anyway.
Can you clarify for us what your position is on funding for Israel if you do become a U.S. Senator? Are you opposed to all funding for Israel, period, military funding?
I'm opposed to unconditional military aid for any country. That is Israel, yes, but that's also Egypt, where my family immigrated from. That's Pakistan, that's Saudi Arabia, that's UAE. And that's not because of a focus on what's happening anywhere except for a focus on what's happening here. We've got communities in my state where the median income is $14,000, and I believe they have a right to their tax dollars. I also believe in international law and upholding international law, and there are Leahy laws against dealing arms to countries who are engaged in human rights abuses, and I don't want to fund a foreign military that does genocide, apartheid, or has taken us to a war.
For the record, I'm not as antagonistic to Caitlin Collins asking these sorts of questions because it's actually good. Because these sorts of questions create an incredible opportunity for Abdul Al-Sayed to just like boom, 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 hit those notes. Okay? It's just, I think 1 or 2 is enough. You know what I mean? You don't have to do it like 8 times.
We don't need to fight. I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity.
Like a lot of people don't realize that journalists, when they ask these sorts of questions, they're not always asking these sorts of questions in a antagonistic manner or because they're like doing it because they love Israel. Well, some of them are. Like some of them do. And you can tell when someone is one of those journalists, right? But like the reason why she's asking these questions is so he can spike it. Okay? It's not like it's good. It's not bad. It's actually a good question to just like tee up so he can just slam it. So just remember that. It's not always a gotcha. And doing it like once or twice isn't necessarily a bad thing anyway. And Abdul is very good in these sorts of contentious media environments regardless. And he played this super well. I mean, he did a really, really good job with this.
And self-determination for Jewish Israelis and Palestinians alike. I believe our responsibility, though, more than anything else, is to use our tax money here in Michigan to provide healthcare in Michigan, and schools in Michigan, and roads in Michigan, rather than to send it to a foreign government that might use it in the form of bombs and tanks to destroy infrastructure and schools and hospitals there.
Some people might hear that and say, well, does he support, funding defensive systems like the Iron Dome in Israel? Do you?
I don't believe that there's really a difference between offensive or defensive weapons. And I also don't believe it's my responsibility to buy defensive weapons for a foreign government when...
Boom. Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode. This is also beautiful because it's not academic. Okay? It's just goat talk. He's just talking exactly the way that the average person talks. He's very simply saying, like, why am I buying weapons for a foreign country when my country's schools are in a state of disrepair? That's it. Run that fucking everywhere you can, okay?
Our kids are defenseless against schools that have been underfunded for a very, very long time.
Boom!
My responsibility as the next senator from Michigan is children in Michigan, rather than thinking about what's in the interest of a foreign government.
Okay, so that's a yes, that you are against funding to things like the Iron Dome.
I am against it in large part because I just don't understand why anybody thinks it's the right thing to do to send our tax dollars abroad to fund foreign militaries when our own kids barely get to go to schools that are functional.
Yeah, so great stuff. Great stuff overall. There was also obviously a moment from Caitlin where she did the "Do you disavow Hassan Piker?" There was that. That one I don't like as much. It's messed up, but it is what it is. Do we have the, does anyone have that one? Does anyone have that Caitlin Collins clip? I guess it might be on the docket because oh yeah, here it is. Abdul Al-Sayed talks to Caitlin Collins.
The results of last night's Senate primary.
Holy shit, 21
lovely
minutes.
Gentlemen. You believe this? This could only happen to me. Abdul Al-Sayed, lovely gentleman, the man of hate. And now he's going around saying, no, I love everybody. He doesn't love everybody. Put him in office. You're going to find out what he loves. He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He
doesn't love Israel is so crazy because it's like, yeah, dude, he's running as the senator, not from Tel Aviv. He's running as the senator for Michigan. Okay? What the fuck are we talking about, It's totally ridiculous. Anyway, this is the Abdul Al-Sayed response to Senator Fetterman saying he needs to renounce Hassan Piker. Again, not the worst way to present that to Abdul, teeing it up to position it as like this is a demand being made by one of the least popular Democrats who is openly basically calling himself an Israel firster. Not the worst way to present this.
I'm not sure if you've seen
question
this. What Democratic
Abdul.
Senator John Fetterman said about you today.
Are you willing to unify with Abdul El Sayed, for example, who's now the Democratic nominee, the Democratic candidate?
Oh, yeah, the tough guy. He called me ugly and then I should be on a pike. And I'm like, Chief, I own mirrors. Well, I can't come together with...
That was, I got to hand it to the ogre, by the way. That was kind of funny. He's like, Chief, I own mirrors. I know I'm ugly. Owned.
Someone, if you are willing to embrace people that loves Hamas or that thinks America deserved 9/11, I think that's reasonable.
What's your response to Senator Fetterman?
In Trump's words, what a lovely gentleman.
I mean, he said that you need to renounce people like the left-wing streamer Hassan Piker, who was campaigning with you, who was out there in Michigan on Monday night, I believe last night as well. Do you have any plans to do that?
Look, I'll tell you this. I'm less focused on folks who are campaigning with me, more focused on the folks I'm campaigning to. And I think it's important to stay in touch with the folks who you want to elect you. I think that's clearly what's gone wrong with Senator Fetterman. It's clear he probably doesn't spend much time.
Well, yeah, what's going wrong with Senator John Fetterman is he had a stroke that made him conservative.
In Pennsylvania, because he was campaigning with Bernie Sanders and now wants to renounce Bernie Sanders. I don't know if he still thinks he's a Democrat or not. But look, I'm hoping to get to the U.S. Senate and maybe we can hash that conversation out in person. But for right now, I'm focused on winning my state so that we can win a Democratic majority in the fall.
Yeah, Oliver Larkin, DSA candidate for Florida 25, confirms will be on Scott Hannity's show today at 5 p.m. Scott Hannity will have anyone but me, okay? My man is having everybody but me on. And it's funny because it's not like he's like, oh, I don't know who this Hassan Piker guy is. He talks about me every night. And then on top of that, he'll bring up people that I've campaigned with, and then he'll yell at them for campaigning with me. He's on right now, 5 p.m. Eastern. I think it's his radio show. So we'll see what the clips look like afterwards. He's been ducking me. Sorry, off topic. You see the legal docs for Ethan versus iDubbbz came out. Looks like he wanted another apology. Yeah, brother, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to, we're back in iDubbbz on that. And yes, Ethan Klein sucks, but that's a little crazy to cover currently. You know what I mean? There's some issues of national and international significance that we need to talk about currently. So, am I too industry brained and thinking he's essentially building you up for some big ratings viewership later down the line with a bullshit debate, or does he just not want to give you a chance to win his audience? No, he doesn't want me to talk to his audience. None of these guys want me to talk to their audiences because at least, look, media executives understand that the left factional infighting or the left insurgency and people like myself are good for the ratings. They're very clippable moments. They will go viral on YouTube. They'll go viral on Twitter. They'll go viral on TikTok. So that's the reason why they do it. Part of it is because the same, there are some obviously obsessed big donors that clearly care about this issue as well. That's why they're trying to excise it. That's why they're trying to drive a wedge between myself and all these candidates that I work with. And part of the reason why they're doing that is not because they're not doing that because they think oh, Hasan is actually electoral poison or whatever. That's the argument that they're presenting. But the real reason is because they want to defang independent media. They want to defang independent left media and make it seem as though independent left media is actually poisonous, is actually toxic, so that, the other candidates that come later down the line shy away from coming on this broadcast. Little do they understand, those guys already make those calculations. None of these people make these calculations because they think I'm fucking dope personally. They obviously understand that I have baggage. I'm also an independent content creator, an independent media figure, and therefore I am not going to present myself in a way that is super sanitized, in a way that is super manicured, in the same way that like most mainstream outlets are. They recognize the possible electoral threat that might present. It's a calculated risk that they take, but it's one that they understand benefits them. Okay? That's it. One part of the reason for why they do this is because it's a disciplining operation. It's to get people to shut the fuck up about Israel. I am now presented as like one of the most prominent critics of Israel on the left, if not the most prominent critic of Israel on the left. So that's part of the reason why they want to, discipline folks, to make them understand if you talk about Israel like this, you will get punished. We will slander you, we'll smear you, we'll call you a dangerous radical, a terrorist. Okay? The other reason is because they also want to defang Abdul's momentum. They want to defang his motion, right? And this is a very effective way to do that. It's a very effective way to do that. How? Because if he were to turn around and say, yeah, you know what? I'm really sorry that I brought Hasan on the campaign. He's a really bad guy. It's not that I have tremendous positive approvals or anything, or my community is going to give up on Abdul El-Sayed. They're going to think he sucks and stop showing him support. And that's like a very significant part of the Michigan electoral calculation. I'm not making that argument at all. It would just simply make him look bad. It would make him look weak. Abdul's greatest quality broadly is that he's a fighter. He's going to fight for Michiganders. He's going to fight for Americans, right? And apologies don't ever mean anything in this media landscape anyway. After all, this fucking asshole is the president. And he's Mr. Double Down. He's Mr. Triple Down. You get more penalties for apologizing than you do for doubling down and tripling down. That's it. And this process already took place in the race, in the primary race, where Abdul didn't apologize, right? And it actually paid out very well for him. He won the race at the end of the day. That's it. This is an operation right now by a lot of establishment figureheads to see if Abdul's pliable to their demands. That's what they're testing out. Okay? The private conversations that he may or may not be having, and I don't know, I haven't asked him, with party bosses and officials that I'm certain are probably asking him behind closed doors, like, what the fuck is the deal? Why are you hanging out with this guy? This guy's a fucking real danger. Should, if I were in his shoes, go as such. This dude is not an anti-Semite. Of course, people are presenting him as such. They're presenting me as such as well. It's totally ridiculous. And yeah, he says some crazy shit from time to time. I mean, he's a shock jock, right? But the reality of the matter is the under 45 demographic came out strong and allowed us to defeat $64 million in outside expenditures. Those door knockers mattered. Those canvassers mattered. Of course, this was a valuable asset to the campaign. You guys are being fucking ridiculous. Because that's ultimately the calculation at play here. And more importantly, it would just look terrible for him if he were to be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done this. I fucked up. It would look terrible for him, not because I'm popular, but it would look terrible for him in general, because all it would signal is that they were hypocritical. That Abdul was a hypocrite. He got caught. He fucked up. This, for the record, is the reason why this community played a formative role in this campaign. Okay?